Okay, so I'm here to talk about Proposition 8 and my opinions on Proposition 8 because it seems to be quite an active topic right now. First things first, I am not gay in any way. I have a boyfriend, I love him, he has a penis, and that's awesome. I do, however, have many friends and family members who are gay, and I wish for them to have the same rights that I have as a heterosexual female. Um, I think that it's truly unconstitutional that their rights not be granted. Furthermore, I was pretty deeply hurt to hear that Wednesday morning Proposition 8 passed. Like, the level of propaganda that was put forth it was ludicrous. It was just utterly ridiculous. Especially about the schools. Like, no curriculum has or ever will contain lessons on gay marriage, or even straight marriage for that matter. So, I mean, that's just absolutely absurd. I can't bring myself to comprehend how almost 60% of the population of California voted to take away the rights of other human beings, like an entire community of people, an entire population of people. Like, how dare they do that? Being that I'm an atheist, I suppose that my position on gay marriage is unbiased, but none of this really truly makes sense to me. I mean, how they bring the Bible into the arguments about what a whole country, like a democracy, should have. Like, we are not a theocracy. Like, nowhere in the Constitution does it say that we're a Christian nation. Like, we're a democracy. I mean, however, I know that we're predominantly Christian folks, but the Bible also states that slavery is morally acceptable and that people who divorce and remarry should be put to death. So it does not set a double standard. Like, if we're going by the morals of the Bible, then more than half the population should be executed, and like the Civil War shouldn't have even been started. Like, women who have abusive husbands should not divorce their husbands and remarry to a man who treats them well. And you should still own an African American. Like, now do you see why that doesn't make sense to me? Like, that's just retarded. Another really common argument that I get about same-sex marriage is that it threatens society, but like, what the fuck? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, how does it threaten society? What's really threatening society is like the economy and like terrorism. The last thing you should honestly be worrying about is gay people. Like, I mean, you shouldn't really worry about like Ellen DeGeneres or like Elton John. Like, how have gay people honestly affected your life? Like, they haven't even affected your life. How are they affecting society? Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You just shut the fuck up already. Like, let's face it. Like, gays and lesbians are always gonna be around. Like, I know, like, Louis the 15th, wasn't he gay? I mean, that was like the 1600s. Like, what the fuck? They're always gonna be around, and they're always gonna want equal rights. And just think about it. Like, America is a progressive nation, and there was a time when women and blacks were treated like property, and now look at us. We have a part black president, and the man who was running against him had a female vice presidential candidate. Like, look how far we've come. The blacks never gave up on fighting for their rights, like, and neither did the women. So, like, look back. Like, how do you judge the people who said that blacks should not have rights? Or, like, you just think that, like, they are, like, the meanest people ever, and they're just, like, totally not compassionate and everything. Like, do you really want to go down in history and like that? Like, I think it's really funny that, like, the only people who, like, vote against gay marriage are not gay, and, like, the only people who were in favor of slavery were not slaves, and the people who didn't want women to have rights were not women. Like, I mean, isn't that oppression? Like, that's totally oppression. That's, like, the definition of oppression. And that's what, like, America was, like, against. Like, that's what we're founded on, like, not having. Like, we got away from, like, the oppression of the king. But did we really get away from oppression? Like, honestly?